Hey everyone, it's me, Sarah Blessing. Welcome to Get the Word Out. And we are doing our third show on data centers because it is such a hot topic. Have you noticed data center stuff popping up wherever you live? Because it's happening across the country, definitely in Indiana. I had Jonathan Talman on from Oregon. We know it's happening in Oregon with their Democratic government. It is happening everywhere, and we're going to talk about why this is a problem, what has happened, and how to stop it, and how other people have started to be able to stop some of this stuff. So if we organize and work together, we can make our world better for our children. And I'm with Lynne Taylor. Lynne, you're an education activist. You're a leader in this. You have a lot of knowledge about this whole situation. So I'm so glad you asked to get on. How are you doing today? And thank you so much.
Oh, Sarah, thank you so much. And thank you to your audience because, you're right. This is not just a one state problem. And in all the research that I've done, we have 5 states that are outpacing every other state. And Indiana happens to be in that top 5. So good for you guys for stepping up, for wanting to know more. And how in the heck can we push back on this? And where I want to start is before we start talking about data centers, I want to address the tech companies that are coming in and razzle dazzling every one of our public private partnerships that are coming to the citizens and going, oh, yeah, hey, by the way, we're going to stick a data center in your backyard and there's nothing you can do about it. Ha, ha, ha. Okay, I'm starting with Black's Law, and here's the book. Okay. And the reason I'm starting with Black's Law is because this is what lawyers use to fight court cases. This
Ah,
is very, very important. So if you can get your hands on a copy of this, or if you can't and hey, Lynn's got one, I can message her and she can look up a word for me. I'll be happy to do that. But I want us to focus on the false pretenses that these tech companies are coming in going, okay, these data centers are the greatest things since sliced bread. Well, honey, not necessarily, because in giving you the sliced bread, we're going to ruin your ecosystem. We're going to skew your economics under the guise of making it better, although it's going to make it worse first. And we're going to just tell you all this BS and horse hockey and expect you to swallow it, expect you to support it, and then they leave town. And whatever happens, happens. So
so
let's
and
look at
and they're coming into state house people. They've been able to get into our
right,
state house government and talk to
right,
our state house representatives and razzle dazzle them, confuse them, give them some
right.
favors, political favors, whatever they can do. And they're just kind of regular people stunned at they don't have that big book of law. They don't have time because
Mm-hmm.
you make laws very quickly, which is ridiculous to me, and
Yeah.
they just pump out this legislation that ends up hurting us all that live in the state.
Right, but you have to question who's making the law. Is it the special interest group or is it the will of the people? Because the way the Constitution reads, and your federal level Constitution comes first, always comes first. Your state Constitution is supposed to back that up. If we're passing laws for special interests that don't necessarily marry to the state constitution or even the federal constitution, we're in deep trouble. So let's look at false pretense because this is where our tech companies are coming at us, and they go to state, then they come to local, or sometimes they go to local and then to state. But the point of it is everybody's getting the shuck and jive, so to speak. So what is false pretense? According to Black's Law, it is a statutory crime. It is defined in slightly different ways in various jurisdictions, but it goes on the same elements. A false representation of a material present or past fact that causes the victim to pass title to property to the wrongdoer who A knows his representation is false and B intends thereby to defraud the victim. Now it goes on to tell you different ways in which that happens. And I want to point out that 9 times out of 10, these tech companies are coming in and they're targeting specific properties that belong to, say, you or I. And they're saying, well, this is old farmland and you haven't used it in 20 years. And well, we've got this massive 200,000 square foot data center. We're going to come in, we're going to wreck all the ecosystem. We're going to build it, level it, and we'll set it up and it'll last for years and years. Now, the one that's in Statesville, which is in North Carolina, where I live, that's 13 miles up the road from Mooresville, where we successfully ran our tech developer out. Statesville is now having to deal with theirs. But that was the sales pitch. And this one family is going, oh, money, 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 money. And they're not thinking environment. They're not thinking neighbors. They're not thinking anything else but money. Same thing happened here in Warsaw. You had one person who wanted to take farmland that was preserved and turn it into a tech center. And the people were like, wait a minute. It's okay if you want to make personal gain off of your private property. That's your business. But when you start doing it at the cost of everyone else's peace, liberty, life, and pursuit of happiness, their ecosystem, their water supply, their air, their health, what are you really doing? So this is where we shouldn't have one person gain so much at the cost of everyone else. And
And
that's the problem.
so the pushback is
Hmm.
this data center stuff, it's because of AI. And
Right,
AI is like multiplying its
right,
knowledge. It's like doubling its knowledge every like 5 or 6 months or something.
right.
And so these mega corporations, these mega companies trying to keep up with AI, they've all got their own version. They need, or they're saying they need just tons of energy as quickly as possible. And they're in this war with each other to
Right.
be the top dog of the top AI. And who's hurting from it? Regular people. Regular people in
Absolutely.
our land, the earth, the environment. They
Right.
could be, could they not? Couldn't they be getting their energy from more environmentally favorable ways?
Absolutely. Duke University here in North Carolina put out a study, and I shared that with you. And I encourage everyone to ask you how to find that. It's very easy to find. But the whole conclusion, Sarah, was that we can make data centers that can meet the existing power grid without reinventing the wheel, without depleting water supplies, without depleting the or forcing the need to create more energy. But because you have this false narrative that the energy that we have and the land that we have are so traditional that it's harming the environment, and we're coming in with these newfangled ways that are somehow supposed to be better. No, 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 no. Anytime man gets involved with nature, I'm sorry, they screw it up worse than if they just left it alone in the first place.
So let's
So
talk
that,
about water for a minute. That's what Jonathan
yeah,
Tellman was saying. He lives off the Columbia River, and
right,
Amazon is using the water for their data centers to cool off
right.
their whatever is making the energy. I'm sorry, I don't understand
Yeah, no, no,
electricity.
you're fine. I've got
and
so much information
and
to
you
share
can't, and
with
a lot
you.
of it's in
Yeah.
like wells and underground stuff, and you can't tell how much water is in there. And then all of a sudden, people can't like get the water out of their faucets. Like it's dripping out
Right.
instead of rushing out because all of a sudden a data center has popped up and a mega company has, pass legislation to allow it, and people can't have running water anymore. I mean, it's creating major problems.
Well, here's the problem. It's not only creating major problems, but it's putting corporations ahead of people because, and we saw this in COVID. What was essential for you may not be essential for me, and vice versa. But if you've got someone who's a caregiver of an infant or an elderly person, and depending on that level of care, you need access to fresh water all the time, which we know as living, breathing humans, one of the things we have to have by and large is clean access to fresh water and fresh air. We cannot survive without these two resources. But look, this is one of the, now I'm going to be, as I'm explaining all this, I'm going to be bringing solutions about. So it's not going to be just a cut and dried problem solution, okay? One of the things that I did in researching for my area and some of the articles that I've written locally and nationally is I got in and I found that my water supply that I pay for is owned by a corporation tied to my county. And in their conservation plan, They have already worked out levels of, okay, here's where we need to be on notice. Here are the things we need to do as we're on notice. And of course, as the need ratchets up and the conservation needs to become more intrusive to you, the less access you have to it, but you're paying for it through your taxation. So this is a cause, another way to come at it from a violation of the law. You're having misrepresentation without taxation, or taxation without representation is another way to look at it. That's huge. And if you go in and you look at the concerns for voluntary conservation versus mandatory, the person who's paying for it is always on the hook first. So where does the corporation fit in? Should it come in behind the citizens? Absolutely. But the way that these data centers are coming in and razzle dazzling everyone, no, they need to come first. That's a huge area of attack for those who want to fight back.
This is great. If I ever have a problem, I would want you on my side. You
Thank
like
you.
attack it with the facts and the documents, and you're reading the laws and stuff, and I'm just so impressed.
Well, thank you. But see, that's the key. If you go into your, let's say you go into your city council meeting and you just pop off with opinion, they will marginalize you within 2 seconds. Whereas if you go in with a study, or you go in with a law, or you go in with what the Constitution says, if you come in with the facts, and this could be the fact about the data company that's coming in, where their agenda is coming from, where your state law is, where your local ordinances are. If you can find where they contradict each other, you have a solid case. It's when you go in with conjecture, misinformation, and opinion that you get shot down. Yes, in my opinion, these all should go away. But if I walk into a room and say that, it's not going to stand up against the slick willy sales pitch that comes from the data center and also comes from the politicians and their lawyers. Because don't think for a moment that that city council and that county council and that state general assembly, or whatever your state calls it, your state level congress, they've got legal stuff out the wazoo. It's time we have the tools to have that on our side. And I'm going to give you another tip right now before I lose it, because there is so much to go over.
Right.
If you look at the Civil Rights Act of 1981, Section 1983, this is a law that Cornell University has done an intense study on, just what it means. Because if you look at it, you're going to read it and go, I have no idea what this means. I mean, it's saying so much, but it's basically telling you any citizen of the United States who is under the constitutional guaranteed rights in the Constitution, if any of those rights or any of your inalienable rights that come from your creator are violated by a government representative or someone acting on the government's behalf, you have every recourse to go after that person. Now let me illustrate this. Let's say that the data center has come in and they're coming after my land, and I don't want that. I can invoke this clause from the citizens. Oh goodness, what did I say? I lost it. I am
The
so
Civil
sorry.
Rights
Civil Rights Act of 1981, Section 1983. I'm sorry. So much is
You're
going
doing
through my
great. This
head.
is so much. You're doing
Um,
fantastic.
but I can cite that and I can stand on it. But I don't go after the company in mass. I go after the CEO, the board of directors, every single person. Why? Because they made their target personal, and by rights, by legal and prudent law, without getting there with a fist in the face or getting angry or using violence or anything like this. I have this law that says I can go after them. I can get my recourse, be it financial or be it action. And the American Policy Center, who's been fighting a lot of this Agenda 2030 that this is tied to, a lot of the AI movements, they tend to be more conservative, but they have also noticed that more liberal people are having this same problem too. So they're addressing both sides of the aisle, which I think is absolutely fabulous. Two of the articles that I've written on the data center research have been for American Policy Center. So I bring this sort of stuff up. But in bringing up the American Policy Center, they put out a resource kit for everyday folks that use this Cornell research to show you step by step how you can use this claw of this really old Civil Rights Act to make it so that it applies to eminent domain, excessive police force, school board violations, anything that you can put in the purview that your natural rights or government protected rights have been violated is under this. It's applicable. There's no statute of limitations. So it could be that it happened, is happening now, or they're planning it in the future, which is what these data centers are doing. Case in point, the one in Statesville, the tech company has said 100 years. So they're planning for 100 years, Sarah, to deprive resources, natural and government guaranteed. They're coming in and wanting to wreck an ecosystem that is supposed to be protected. And this is another place that you can look at because Indiana is a farm agricultural based state. Do you have a farmland protection program? Because it is a national program. It's tied in with the EPA and the Department of Agriculture. If you have that in your state, look at where your protected farmland zones are. If they're targeting those protected farmland zones or the buffer zones that butt up to the preservation zones, you have a case.
Okay, this is amazing. So I've been making the case, which is much harder than what you're doing, which
Right,
is if we want to fight this, we need to get better people elected at the state house that care about our state, that care about the
right.
people living at the state, that care about the nature, and we need to make sure they are more prepared to handle the lobbyists and can say no.
And that's a good
Um,
solution, but
and
it's
that's
not the
what we
only
should
one.
keep
Yeah,
doing that. And I
yeah,
will keep promoting that and trying to help people that want to
right,
run for state office positions across the country. But
right.
what you're saying is, because that's going to take a few years and it's going to take a lot of work to convince people to run for state office. It's not like it's just a
But
ban run for state.
meanwhile, we've got this citizen action that we can. And here's the thing, it's not reserved for just one person. All your friends can use this same law, this
Yeah.
same clause. Everyone can use it because you're what? You're an American citizen with constitutional rights.
So
Okay,
let's say I'm watching this show right now
right,
because a data center has affected my life, my
right,
land. Something had happened. I live in some different state than Indiana, and I've come across this show because I'm trying to find solutions.
right.
They need a community immediately. They need a community
Absolutely.
of support for how to
Hmm.
fight this, and you are doing that. What's their
Right.
next step after they watch this show?
Okay, the next step, like minded people. If you've got one person who's opposed to data centers and they're talking with their friends about why they're concerned based on facts, use some personal stories too, because if you've been negatively harmed by one of these, we need to know because that's better ammunition for us to use against these companies that want to come in and just
So
squash.
where do they go? Do they go to Facebook groups? How do they
You
find
can
people that are also fighting data centers?
Okay, you can find people on social media. It doesn't have to be just Facebook. If you've got people on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, your true socials, your other,
So
I don't know. They're
put it out
so,
there, your
yeah, put
story.
it put it out
Say,
there.
okay,
This
this
is,
is
yeah,
happening to me. I need help. Put it out there on
right.
different social media
Ask,
platforms and then
yeah,
get some people that are like, hang on, I can help you.
ask for help. Then I'm going to suggest that you contact any local group that you know that's going. For example, the one that was here in Mooresville, North Carolina, where I live, it was called No to MTP, which stood for Mooresville Technology Park. Now they have, if you Google that, you can find that online. They have an email address. They also have a website. And if you go to the website, they will tell you, here's every bit of the information. This is why these are harmful. This is why we should fight back. Everything has been so meticulously categorized. They also have a page, Sarah, of successful cities across the nation who have fought back and won. So if you're looking for help and you don't know where to go and you can't find social media, but you can find a website, I would go there. I think the page is called Rays of Hope, but you will see cities from across the nation who have used citizen power to fight back. So, yes, let's continue to get proper people in places of legislation, but let's also remember that there's more citizens than there are leaders. And that's the way the government should work. It's a government for the people, by the people, and of the
And
people.
they've bought, these data centers, these mega companies, they have bought our state legislators in a lot of states, including
Yeah,
in Indiana. They
right.
have heard it, but we the people like you, amazing Lynn, are
Mhm.
organizing and you're using the law and
Right.
you are able to fight and stop some things quickly.
Absolutely, absolutely. And use data centers as an example of the power that you truly have. Because if, let's say you don't like what's going on in the school, honey, here's a perfect example of how you can do it. Now, I want to focus from another aspect, Sarah, because this is one of the things about data centers. It's not just farmland. It's not just the ecosystem. It's not just about the money. It's about the cooling systems.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, some of these data centers are not just using our water, but they're coming in and saying, oh, we're going to use our air. Well, we already have a lot of pollutants in our air and in our water. And yes, massive efforts down through the years have gone and it helped clean things up, but we're not 100% yet. But now we're going to put in the mix that we're going to be using chemicals. Chemicals are harmful to humans and animals. They're harmful to our plants. So anything that we would eat, plant based or animal based, is going to be harmed in all this
So if you have a
fallout.
data center in your area, chances
Hmm.
are it's not just taking your water to use the water to cool stuff, it's also putting stuff in the air
Right,
and the water. Is that what you're
right.
saying?
Yeah, it is. And the reason I know that is because, again, I've looked and I have cited studies from other people across the nation who have said, okay, as young as this industry is, there's already enough evidence now, as young as this industry is, that proves harmful things are going on. For example, if it's not water, it's some sort of chemical. And in some instances, Dow Chemical Company is using an immersion technology that cools. It uses liquid silicon. Well, what the heck does silicon do to a human body or the environment? The US FDA says if it's injected or sometimes even breathed, it can cause chronic pain, inflammation, and lung problems. All right. You have other Healthline is a website. It says non-injected. It's a chemical. Any chemical is going to give you a risk, but especially if you breathe it in. It can also cause skin irritation. Well, now skin irritation might be simple, but what happens if it turns into skin cancer? Oh, okay. Then you have another company. This is called Vertiv. They use hydrocarbon and fluorocarbon. Oh, there's nothing that could go wrong there. Now, is there, Sarah? Hydrocarbon has been known to chemically induce pneumonia as well as nerve damage and cardiac issues. It can also cause kidney and liver damage and lung issues. Fluorocarbon can cause liver damage in humans and wildlife. It also poses risk to humans and the environment, especially in cancer. All right, let's look at the air quality for just a second. Okay, diesel exhaust, nitrous oxide, both of those have led to instances of cancer, lung disease. We have a data center that's built by Musk of all people, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee,
I've
that
heard of
is
that one.
causing people to have COPD who have never had COPD in their
What is
lives or in their
COPD?
family.
What
It's
is COPD?
it's a cardiac pulmonary disease.
So heart problems?
So heart problems. So we're seeing that these data centers are not all as cute and fancy as we're being told. They're bringing out massive health concerns. And one of the arguments that I used before my city board was the fact of, okay, in the 28115 and 28117 zip codes, we're already identified by the national government, the state government, and local entities as a cancer hotspot. Why?
Hmm.
Because we have a coal powered steam nuclear station.
I just want to
And
say we're told that the government, like I always
right,
believed growing up, that the government is looking out for us, that they are trying to take care of our health.
right.
And right now, data centers and these mega corporations and their lawyers and lobbyists have been able to stop
Mm-hmm.
much of our government from protecting us and our lives.
Yep,
And I think if you go to these local meetings and you call out the
yep.
environmental health to their children, to themselves, and you say this will hurt your family that lives here, that might be a good way to get in.
That's what caught the media's attention when I said that our health care should not come at the risk of, at the price of a profit. Speaking of profit, the reason why I was bringing up the cooling systems because if you look at the investment part of this from the stockholders and the big wigs in finance and all that kind of stuff, because trust me, it goes there too. Investors.com. This was as of the week of July 28, 2025. Big data, especially through artificial intelligence, is expected to be $1 trillion market very quickly.
I
And
can't even
who's
fathom how much $1 trillion
and and
is.
and who is going to benefit the most? The cooling system giants. Their
Oh.
stocks are going to go up, their earnings are going to skyrocket. So this is your HVAC systems. So let's say that your data center, one of the sales pitches is we're going to create jobs because that was one of the things that we found was, oh, we're going to bring in 200 to 300 jobs. That has a big asterisk behind it, or caveat, if you will. Depending on who the customer is, which these tech development companies will never divulge who the customer is, so you can't really find out. But yet you're supposed to lock, stock, and barrel hand over
It
your
doesn't seem fair.
sword.
I would like more
It's not. It's
transparency here.
it's not fair at all. But one of the things that was brought up in the meetings was depending on the customer, they might be bringing their own special people in. They're going to bring their own construction people in. So if you hear a data center is coming to your location and you're in the HVAC industry or you're in the somehow the data coding system and you think, oh, I can get a local job, you might, but you might not. So I wouldn't throw all my eggs in one basket, is what I'm saying. And so if we want to protect local jobs and local economies, we don't need to be inviting or having these states come in because let's face it, I live in North Carolina. The two tech development companies that have tried to wine and dine our leaders. The first one here in Mooresville was tracked out of Colorado. That's TRACT. The next one is Compass out of Dallas, Texas. I don't need Colorado in my state. I don't need Texas in my state. I need North Carolina in my state. You need Indiana in your state. Now,
Right.
if we have a North Carolina or Indiana or wherever the heck it is you live, company that comes in and says, hey, let's set up a data center. Let's do it locally. Let's do it responsibly. Let's use the existing industrial zoning that we have with the plethora of industrial buildings that are sitting vacant. Let's not go knock down people's homes, buy out homes, or use a city's eminent domain to take your home and your farmland to build something that doesn't need to be built. We have enough buildings, we have enough industrial zoning, we have enough power system.
Yeah, why do we have to have a worse life, worse quality of air, worse water so that they can make a ton of money off of AI? Like
Because we don't matter. As living, breathing people, we don't matter. One of the reasons why farmland is such a high commodity is because if you look at the people who are so gung ho over greening up the planet, that traditional agriculture is a bad idea, that it's ruining the ecosystem. Really? I think chemicals are doing a far better job at ruining the ecosystem than traditional farming. But that's the mindset. So you have this false narrative, this false pretense. Again, go back to Black's Law. What am I doing? I'm sweetening my end of the deal so that you get the raw end of the deal and I can walk off like the cat who ate the rat.
I'm just like, I'm thinking about if this happened to me. And
Yeah,
I know more than the average person about data
right.
centers because I've interviewed you all, but I'm not where you're at. You are clearly a different level of person than I am. You can read the law, you can work at it, you can figure it out, and you can fight it. What frustrates me is most people are very intimidated by the law. And so when these corporations, when these lobbyists and all this money and all of their power come in and kind of really intimidate the regular person with their regular land or their farm that they want to keep, it seems like such a massive thing that you just better let them do what they want. They're too powerful to stop. I want to know, how did you do it? Because you helped stop in your own town. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Here's the secret. Yes, it can be very intimidating. Have I always been able to read a law and understand what the heck it said? No. This has taken me years to get to read legislation and laws and go, okay, I get it. Now I don't have a legal background, but what am I showing you? I'm showing you that a regular person can be effective. We are all at different levels of understanding. We have all different gifts. So, what was so successful about our fighting back was that we plugged in and tried to unify so that the person who was really good at research could research. The person who was really good at speaking out could speak out. The person who was really good at getting people connected. So there was a spot for everyone to plug into. And that's the reason why you start off asking for help, putting it out there. This is what we're going through. And with the good side of the technology is that we are more in touch with each other than we have ever been.
And
And we
allow
can,
yourself to make mistakes. Like
right,
you didn't always get everything right when you were
no,
researching, and
and
you
I
had a
still
lot of questions,
don't.
and you're probably saying stuff and you're getting stuff wrong, but that's okay. You're allowed to mess up. And I think that's one
Exactly.
way they go after us because they make us think like if we don't know the law 100% and say something and we're wrong, that we should just be quiet. That's how they silence us.
Yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes
But
here.
but here's the thing, turn it back on them immediately. All right, I may not know what this state statute says or this law says, but why don't you? It's your job. You have to remember we employ these people. We pay their salary, but yet they limit us to 3 minutes per person
I think we're at 2 minutes in my
because
town.
what the point but the point is they limit you because they are portraying they are the master, you are the minion, as opposed to you taking your power. And so yeah, you make a mistake, big deal, but they're making a bigger one, and that is, you
Yeah.
always have to
It's
point
the
it
the
back.
gaslighting, the
It's
constant
their
gaslighting that these big entities, these governments, these agencies, they constantly act like you messed up this one part. It's like, hang on, we're not talking about me. We're talking about what you are doing to
right,
my family and to my land,
right.
and you just put it right back on them. Yeah,
Well,
that's a
you
really good
have to.
tip.
You cannot be intimidated. And if you are easily intimidated, then think about, okay, maybe I'll go let a person like Sarah or a person like Lynn, I'll let them handle that, but I can go over here where I'm not easily intimidated and I can absolutely put the rubber to the road. So there's a place for everybody. But here's the thing, we have to get out of the mindset that this is too big for us.
Right. Right.
We have to get in the mindset that, yeah, it's a heck of a lot bigger than I am, but I'm not. alone. I
Right.
have
And
someone who I know I can go
right.
to.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
the
look, you found
power.
me. You found
Yeah.
me through, was it Jonathan Talman? Is that how?
Honey, I don't remember it. It
I
doesn't
mean,
matter.
we
I
got
mean, it's,
connected because we're
yeah,
talking about the same thing. We're in different states, and here you are sharing this great knowledge on how to work together to stop. And I have to say, I'm feeling pretty good that you're telling
good.
us this stuff because I thought we had to like we just have to get better people elected. You're saying no, you just got to get a group of people work
You
together, look at
do.
the law, go and fight it, call it out, and be like, let's protect our land. Let's just shine a light on what you're doing.
Right. And that's the whole thing. That was how it was it's a truly grassroots group. Nobody's getting paid.
Right.
No one is getting paid to do this. In fact, people are putting out money to make signs and buttons and get things out there. We're finding that people who may have some bit of name behind them are getting involved, and that's great, but it's growing organically, and that's what you want is get those conversations going. But here's what we're doing to help, because yes, we were successful in Mooresville. But remember that website I told you about, the NODA Mooresville Technology Park. Go look at the Rays of Hope, the other communities. Look at what they did. Their stories are there. So
And I
you
want
can
to,
get
yeah, I want to plug
energized.
ours. We have
Yeah.
Citizens Action Coalition in Indiana, and I
Okay.
had I think it's the executive director, Kerwin Olson, on my show,
Mm-hmm.
and they're fighting it. They're like their own lobbyists fighting for the people
Okay.
in our energy bills. And Kerwin Olson, they just did something. They were able to
Mm-hmm.
work with our energy companies and
Yep.
get a better deal through them because our state house has been bought and sold already by the
Right.
corporations and lobbyists,
Right.
including the Democrats, some of them,
Right.
even
Well,
though
here's what
we're
we have
mostly
to do.
Republican.
It's okay. There are so many ins and outs and ups and downs to data centers that if we just focus on one part of that data center, that still allows all the power from all the others. So yes, multi-prong, multi-plan. Who's going after water? Who's going after electricity? Who's going after legislation? Who's going after state statutes? Who's going after funding? Who's going after looking at the tech company? You it's like if you follow sports, no sports team is successful if they don't have a meticulously laid out game plan. And it does not take long to make a game plan. It does not take months, it does not take weeks, it takes a couple of days. And so what we've done, what some of us have done who fought here in Mooresville, is after I leave you today, I'm meeting locally with another group who's going to go to Statesville. And what I've done is I have massed all this information in a Word document and I printed it out. It's just random notes of here's what you need to look, here's what you need to plug into, here's what you need to do. I can share that with you, Sarah. It
I'd love
doesn't
it.
matter
Yes,
to
yes.
me
I can
because
send it out to people fighting because people
because
contact me saying they're fighting this.
if you use each example as well, excuse me, if you use each fight as an example, and every show I do, whether it's based on what's happening in education, which I've done for over 20 years, I always give you examples, resources. The examples help you learn. Hey, if it's going on in my place, it's going on in your place. Honey, we are not Las Vegas. And that mindset of, oh, well, it's only happening here. No, That's a whole nother topic. It's happening everywhere. And why? Because we have an agenda that somehow America has to be the leader in AI. So we have to tweak the laws. We have to hurry up the funding, hurry up the permitting that may not be legal,
Everything's so rushed.
to hurry it up to put these data centers in place. And why? It's for a surveillance state. That's the cut and dried of it. The reason I know this is because I already know enough about what's happening in the education system of how much data is taken off each and every one of our children. And we have it that now it's coming for us as adults, as older people. This is not a respecter of age, race, income, sex.
So
It's
you're saying part of this desire
yeah.
to make AI so big and to get all these data centers and to just pop it up immediately is you're saying these companies and our government want to surveillance us American citizens more.
Right. Why do you think there's such a push for the AI driven license plate readers that not just read your license plates, but they amass every bit of personal data that's on your phone, that's in your wallet as you drive by?
And we're already pretty out there. People know a lot about us, just like think about how much Google knows me because of my Gmail. We're already surveillanced a lot by these companies that, they use that knowledge to sell us advertising and to do all kinds of things. Like the Weather Channel app makes a lot of money off. They see where you're going to go next week because you're checking the weather
Right.
for your vacation spot and stuff. They make money off of that.
That's part of the
So we're
surveillance,
we're
though.
seeing more. You're saying there's going to be more of that, and then you're saying they're tracking education. You're
Oh,
tracking.
they've been doing that for years. But yeah, let me show you real quick. Okay, these are the notes that I've made for the people I'm going to talk to. Get your media involved too. Trust me, there are reporters locally who are following this story.
Right.
And in the short period of time, I have made 3 media friends who are contacting me going, okay, what's going on?
I have
All right.
media people too. Yeah. And
Yeah,
like, yeah. So people
but you can
find your
use
Sarah
them.
blessings, find your people that will
Yeah,
shine a light on it
absolutely.
through their place,
Okay.
and you teach it to them. Cause that's what
Check.
you're doing me. You're teaching me
Right.
so that I can get it out there.
Tech policy, the dangers that are targeting our low income people. That's going to be huge. Okay. Then you have the work I've done for Sons of Liberty Media, where I did the show called The Scary New Community Neighbor. And there it is about the data center. All right, I went to my local library and I looked for books that were either centered on AI or data centers. And what I found was a book that it detailed for me things I didn't understand, like what's a hyperscale? Who's going to come in if a disaster comes in? What is that recovery process going to look like? Because let's face it, anytime you put up a man made structure, there will be some sort of construction failure, disaster, because let's face it, we're not having quality things built anymore. Okay,
Yeah.
from HiveNet, 10 untalked, 10 very few talked about points of the bad things of data centers. One of which, the one that stuck out to me the most, is how much each one of these 10 things will change. And one of them was the toxicity that the e-waste that these data centers will create will fill up our landfills. Now, e-waste is outdated computers,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
okay, or things that help run those computers. Well, those things were made with a lot of chemicals. So this HiveNet article tells you, okay, here are the different things that leak out into the land. Here are the
So they're
different
just going
things,
in landfills and they're
yeah,
leaking out
and they're
into the
and they're
getting in our
telling
waters and
right, and what they're telling you is that America has been horrible because we've been shipping our e-waste to other countries, poor
oh,
countries.
oh.
And what we have found, because we've been doing this, which is horrible, we found that if you don't dispose of this e-waste properly, it can cause mass havoc of toxic materials. Here we go. I'm going to read to you. Much of the e-waste ends up in landfills, which contributes to environmental pollution. When electronic waste is improperly disposed of in landfills, toxic materials can seep into the soil and groundwater, affecting not only our health, but also the land and sea animals. E-waste accounts for nearly 70% of the toxic heavy metals in landfills, such as mercury, cadmium, beryllium, lead, and it goes on and on. So yeah, there's another environmental aspect for you. And people will tell you, oh, well, we recycle our e-waste. Oh yeah, how? When they give you, oh, we're doing this, call them out. How are you doing it?
Yeah, ask
How
them
is
how they're
how is
recycling it.
how is that going to impact the local water supply and air supply? This also
So,
goes into
how
noise
long have you
pollution.
how long have you been tracking data centers? Because you seem like such an expert to me. How long have you been doing this?
Okay, from the data aspect for education, at least let's see, we're 2025. Okay, data as far as education, probably 10 years. Data centers, less than 3 months.
Wow. So, I just want people to realize you don't have to have any prior knowledge. You just need
You
to be
just have to
someone
be
that can
nosy.
research, nosy,
You
research,
have to
look
be
into
nosy,
stuff.
and you have to be able to take no for an
And
answer,
that's
or take the
we kind of
answer that go ahead.
you have become the investigative reporter. We've kind of lost those because of how our news has gone after, like, we don't have as much local news as we used to, and that's what
Right.
I'm trying to be, news
Yeah.
too, and get
Yeah.
the word out and solve big problems in our country. I'm worried about Indiana and stuff. So we have
Hmm.
to be our own investigative reporters, and
You
that's what
do.
you've become. You've
You
become your own
do.
investigative reporter. You're tracking down other people. You're working together. You're planning. You also remind me of the famous movie Aaron Brockovich.
Oh, thank you.
You
That's quite
remind
a
me of that
compliment.
because you're tracking down, wait, people are getting hurt from this thing. How do I stop this thing? And then you're fighting it and you're stopping it. And we just need so many more people like you, but it's
Well,
overwhelming because
it
there's
can
lots of
be.
problems.
It
And
can be. So break
my
it
tip
down. Yeah.
my tip is find which thing you care about the most and zoom in on that. So
Yeah.
yours is data centers, zoom in on it, get your
Yep.
people, find them, organize, plan, work together, get your media people. And you probably didn't know you were going to be going on all shows like this, coming
No,
on
I
Project
didn't.
Next.
No, but that's okay because information is power to the people, and that's what we need. And here's the thing. Um, yeah, it's overwhelming. Yeah, it's big. And like you said, find the problem that frustrates you the most. It is bigger than you. And when something this big is encroaching on not only your family, but all the families you know, you have a duty to speak up. And if you don't speak up, you cannot have a seat at the table. You cannot be a part of the solution. Let me show you some more resources real
Go
quick. This
for it.
is from Arnold and Porter. This discusses the fast tracking of the permitting that we're seeing going on throughout our states. Okay, the Duke University study, you can find that at the Nicholas Institute for Energy, Environment, and Sustainability that's housed in Duke University. And it goes across the board and tells you if we can be intentional in our design, we can have these things and live with them, and they're not mammothly taking over our lives. But that's not going to fit the narrative because the narrative is no, we have to go in and knock down everything and build new and bring in more health problems and more environmental problems. That's not a solution. That's an absolute plague that we can avoid.
And we should try. We should try to
Yeah.
leave this place better for our children.
Well, think about this in those cases where they're saying the data centers will last 100 years. I call BS, and here's why. Because we know that the technology that goes into making computers and phones on a personal level is obsolete by the time you get it. My phone might be new to me, but that technology is yesterday's news. So, okay, look at Finland. Look at some of the other countries where they went in with these supposedly really long expected lifespans of their data centers, only to find out that within 20 years they're obsolete. So now
Oh.
you've gone in, you've wrecked the ecosystem forever. You have a building that is now obsolete, can't be used for anything else, and you've harmed the people. But this is okay. No, it's not
We've
okay.
already done this in Indiana, just in Harrison
Yeah,
County. In Lanesville, we've got some Amazon warehouse where they promised us when they came in and asked if, for permission, asked the government, they said, "Oh, we're going to give you jobs." And they're like, "This is
yeah,
great." Yeah, the jobs never happened. They all just
exactly,
brought their own Amazon people in
exactly,
from other places. They
exactly.
weren't hiring hundreds of people in Harrison County.
And if they
Oh,
if the tech developer cannot tell you how much a economic boost that this will bring, because that is not usually an answered question. That should be a clue to you. Well, if they can't even tell you the economic boom, then there's not going to be one because there
and
won't.
they manipulate good people because a lot
Yeah.
of the people in these town councils and these city councils, they're trying to help their town, and they
Well,
just
they
kind of
hear money.
blindly
They
believe.
hear they
They
hear
believe
boost
them.
you.
Yes,
Yeah.
money is going to bring jobs. They hear the things that they're saying, and they know how to manipulate these people.
False pretense. large and in charge. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. So, Sarah, what can I leave you guys with that would help you the most?
So I would also, I would say if you're trying to fight data centers, you need to contact Lynne Taylor and help her get you started. How can they contact you? We're
Okay,
friends on Facebook somehow.
right,
I don't,
we
yeah.
are. Okay, you can use my email. It's info@commoncorediva.com. If you're interested as far as the education and data aspect on my blog, commoncorediva.com, if you just type in data tracking, you're going to get a ton of information. If you want to see the articles that I've written for American Policy Center, you can. I think it's AmericanPolicyCenter.org. You'll look for data dangers and data centers monster moves. Those will give you everything I've shown you today.
And you're
Okay.
basically saying you use the federal laws to
Mm-hmm.
stop stuff at the state. You use the federal
We'll check
laws,
the state law too, because
check
there
state
should
laws
be
too.
one. But even if there's not, that federal covers you because you're an American citizen with those guaranteed
And I would
rights.
definitely record whenever you go to these
Oh,
government
yes.
meetings. Definitely record
Document.
and splash it on. And if you can edit it to just the part where you're speaking and they're responding and shine a light. There was a recent thing going on in Harrison County. We got a lot of stuff going on this week where police officers asked for like basic vacation time from our
Mm-hmm.
county commissioners in Harrison County, and they were told no, and it was in 9 minutes. And there's a
Why?
video of the 9 minutes. Oh, it's because the parks department, the park superintendent has complete control of Harrison County. I'm working on it. It's a 3-4 year story I've been going on.
That's a violation of their right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you need some
I wish I
downtime.
had you
Trust me.
helping me with the parks department because that's my problem. That's the one I go after, and I don't know the law as well as you do, girl. But
It's
anyway,
easy to
they
find.
posted this video. Some random person posted a 9 minute video of it, and it's been seen 120,000 times already.
Wow.
So
Wow.
you guys don't underestimate the power of recording. You say you don't want to protect our children in this land. You want to dump chemicals into the water and the air and hurt our children and hurt our animals in our land and then have them. And because that stops a lot of people from just blindly going with the corporations that are duping
Yeah.
them. That
Yeah.
stops a lot of it when they're going to get heat on them. So
Well, future generations, because again, in 100 years, you're going to have what, 4 or 5 generations? What are we leaving for them? Are they going to have any food or water?
And I'm
That
not
you know.
saying stop AI. I use Chat GTP. I use it to
But
get
we need to be
information.
more.
But
We need to be more responsible, and we don't need these tech companies coming in and setting up surveillance systems. You
yes,
just don't.
and they're profiting so much off of our loss of land and our environment getting destroyed. When I drive to Indianapolis now, I live at the bottom of Indy. When I go up, it's just warehouse after warehouse after warehouse after warehouse, and I'm like, what are we doing to our land in
I'm.
Indiana? Why is it just
I'm.
like it's just like trucks and warehouses and I'm like, why are we doing this? Why don't we make a state where we want to stay and live? It's a beautiful state. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Exactly. It absolutely is egregious what is going on. And this is why people need to use righteous indignation, not anger, but righteous
yes. Don't
indignation.
just go in there and lose your temper. Work
Right.
together, plan, organize, have a plan of what you're going to say, have a plan of who's going to video it, have a plan of how you're going to push it out on different social media platforms. The video with the commissioners is Facebook and it just blew up. You
Yeah.
know, this
Yeah.
can be done. And then
It
when you
can.
start, like Lynn, when I start like going after, like when I went after the parks department, I got all kinds of tips from people that have been hurt by Larry
Exactly.
Shickles and the park superintendent. So I got all these tips and all these facts and all these extra knowledge. I just put out a new video about him trying to stop the Boys and Girls Club in my town. I met new people this way. And so you're not alone. If you
No,
put
you're
it out
not.
there that you're having this problem, other people are going to find you and you're going to work together. And that's been a really beautiful thing for my mental health to have
And
other people fight.
if we could learn one thing from our young people, look at the explosion of followers that they've gained just for something as simple as maybe how to put on makeup.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
if they can influence that many people with something like that,
That
how
gets them.
much more power could we, on a serious topic, affect by getting things out there? So,
Yeah.
yes, we can use technology for good, but this is not for good. This is setting it up for nefarious, Orwellian, horrible parameters
We have to
that, yeah,
realize what is being done with data centers is not
yeah.
good for us.
No,
And we, the people, have to stand up against it.
we
We
do.
cannot expect our government to just blindly do the right thing. I used to think that, and now
Yeah.
I'm way less naive about how the world works and how much money and power and control influence. And but I also see people like you that are working together with other people, and you're actually stopping stuff, and it gives me hope. And I'm really trying to spread hope to the country
And
that we can do
and
this.
that should be our number one message is there is hope in togetherness in used in the right way. Because we have seen togetherness that is used to be used against us. And that's what these data centers are doing. And so I would just say, look through all the resources in both those articles from the national level. Find the one thing that really just rubs you raw. What is that one thing that just,
And zoom in on it.
and
Become a
zoom in
Lynne
on
Taylor
it and
expert.
start looking. And as far as looking through your state statutes, that's pretty easy. For example, when I wanted to find out about the farmland protection, I just went to whatever search engine I have and I put in North Carolina farmland preservation. And it took me straight to the general state statutes, the chapter. So it's super easy to find it. You just have to want to be curious enough to not take their status quo answer or the answer that just sounds like, wait a minute, that's just too good to be true. Yeah, run with it. Be a dog with a bone, honey.
And never believe they're gaslighting. When they
Right.
start calling you out for saying something wrong or making a mistake, it is not about you. It is about what they are doing to harm your
Exactly.
state, your family, your land, and you put it right back on them. Boy, that is a trick that they use all the time, these bullies. They're so
Well,
good
guess
at it.
what?
And you want to be like, "Oh no, I'm not perfect. I mess up." No, 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 you put it right back on them.
Well, guess what? They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you do. And
They're
they get
just, yeah.
just as nervous on other situations. We just don't see it.
Yeah, you're not
So even if
you
your
never
voice,
believe that they're better than you.
right,
Never believe it. They might
right.
be putting their suit on and sitting up there and only allowing you so many minutes to talk. They are no better than you. And
Well,
don't ever let them think
here's the
other.
one thing that I think is also key. Don't just show up one time and think you're done.
Right. It's going to be a
Create
fight for a long time.
create a dialogue with those people because what happened, this was one of the things that is beautiful, is one of the things that happened when I was contacting the city leaders via email. I had, out of the 7, the mayor included, I had one who came back and said, I'm with you. That was an opportunity for me to create a dialogue with this person.
Yes.
You have to create that dialogue with those in charge, your sheriff.
That's such a
Get
good
to
tip.
know who your sheriff is. Get to know who your mayor is, your city leaders. Create dialogue with them.
Go and talk to them.
Don't just
Again, they're
show
no
up at the
better than you.
city
Go and
meeting.
talk to them. Yeah, talk before you go. Let them know
Talk
what
before
it's
you
about
go. Talk
before.
after you go. Don't
Talk
just
out.
show up for
Yes.
the 3 minutes and go,
Right.
okay, I'm mad at you and this is why, and never
And don't
speak
be
to them
mad at them.
again.
Be
Yeah,
nice to them,
be
and just keep
respectful.
talking to them, and don't stop talking to them. Even if they hurt your feelings sometimes,
Yeah,
you get over it. You get comfort from people that love you, and you keep fighting. You don't stop talking to them, and never take no for an answer. Always keep trying to get them to understand what's happening, because it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt their
yeah.
family. Unless they're moving away to someplace safe where their environment is untouched, it's going to hurt them and their families too.
Well, it'll also embolden them to stand stronger against things that they see that they know the citizens don't want.
And
So
you
I
almost gotta like connect
yeah.
them to other people that
Oh
support the
yeah.
cause so they know they're not alone because they
Yeah.
feel bullied and pressured from the big corporations. So you
Well,
kind of gotta
yeah.
help protect them some too. Yeah.
Absolutely. All
Yeah.
right, Sarah. Anything else I can do for you, my dear?
Yeah, if you can just everybody just share Project Next stuff, Project Next Media. We want to unite the country and we want to bring like actual solutions to the table, unite, organize, and just save the world. That's all we want to do. It's a very small goal. And we're on Substack. So Project Next Indiana, you can get emails, everything's free, and you can see our shows and pick out which ones you want to listen to. We're also podcast on Apple, Spotify, where you get your podcasts. We're on Facebook, YouTube. Please subscribe to YouTube, and we're on Instagram and TikTok. So we're
Cool.
out there. We've got Project Next with an up arrow. Find us, please subscribe and follow, and then leave us a review. And just if you care about data centers and you found this show, please send it out to all your data center people. Let's work together. Let's connect
Yeah.
them with Lynne. Lynne, you are amazing. You
Thank
are
you.
incredible.
Thank you.
I love your accent, by the way. Just
Thank you.
side note, North Carolina is my favorite accent in the world, and it's very
Okay.
subtle. Yours is very subtle, and I love
Thank
it
you.
so much. I love your
Okay.
all's hydrangeas. I love North Carolina, the state. It's so beautiful there.
No,
It
it's
makes
being
me
ruined.
it makes me proud that you are there fighting and trying to save it because it is a hard time right now.
It
2025 is
is.
hard, and we're just going to keep organizing. We're going to keep working together and meeting badass people like yourself, and we're going to do it. We're not going to
Yes,
stop
we
because
are.
our kids deserve better. We deserve better.
And you know
Yeah.
what? If we don't win the war, I'm going to leave them with the biggest black eye I possibly can.
And we're going to slow it down. We're going to do what
Yep.
we can. I'm just one tiny little person in this giant world,
But
and I'm
tiny
going to do my best.
people united makes one big bug.
Look at what you're doing. I'm so proud of you. If you're ever having a bad day and need a pep talk, feel free to call me up. You got my cell number because I'm just
Okay.
so impressed with you.
Thank you,
Um,
dear.
Thank you for all you're doing. Thanks for watching the
Okay.
show, everyone. Please share it and have a fantastic day. Don't give up hope, you guys.
Mm-mm.
We're all going to work together. Bye, everybody.
Bye.